You probably think winter's just about cold nights, icy roads, and shoveling the driveway, but here's the part nobody's saying out loud. FEMA, the very agency that handles disasters in America, just updated their cold weather prep checklist. And it's not filled with flashy gadgets or overpriced survival gear. No, it's stuff that's cheap, simple, and hiding in plain sight. And here's the ugly truth. This winter is going to hit harder and stranger than most people are ready for. The grid, it's already weak. One Arctic blast, and it's toast. We saw it in Texas when families were freezing in their homes. We saw it in the Midwest where people went days without power. Folks were burning furniture, ripping apart their own houses just to stay warm. That's not survival. That's desperation. But FEMA's list, it's not about panic, it's about being smart. These are the 9 basic items they quietly recommend before every serious freeze. The same items that actually work when nothing else does. And odds are, you've already got some of them sitting in your house. You just don't realize how powerful they really are. So before we jump in, I want to hear from you. Have you noticed the weird weather already? Higher heating bills? Empty shelves at the store? Because what's happening in your town right now might be the exact preview of what's coming nationwide. 9 personal heat packs and wearable warmth. Most people laugh when they hear battery-powered heat. They think it sounds gimmicky, like some TikTok hack or futuristic gadget nobody actually uses. But here's the reality. When the power dies in a blackout, your thermostat becomes nothing but a wall decoration. The house goes cold, fast, and your blanket, that comfort item, suddenly feels like a piece of tissue paper against an Arctic blast. This is where personal heat devices flip the game. I'm talking rechargeable hand warmers, battery-heated vests, or even the same batteries that power your cordless drill slipped into a heating adapter. The trick isn't to warm your whole house, you'll never manage that. The trick is to warm you, your chest, your back, your hands, your core. Keep your body stable and you survive. Fail to and your core temperature slips degree by degree until hypothermia sneaks up on you like a thief in the dark. And here's what makes these devices powerful. They're small, targeted, and scalable. One charged pack can give you several hours of real heat. You can rotate it between people in your family. You can tuck it under blankets to stretch its life. And unlike burning furniture or lighting candles, there's no smoke, no carbon monoxide, no risk of setting your house on fire while you sleep. Experts are blunt about this. Batteries won't cook your food or heat a living room, but they will stabilize your body temperature long enough for the grid to come back or for rescue crews to reach you. That's the line between shivering in misery and keeping control. So don't roll your eyes at battery heat. Stock rechargeable warmers. Keep extra packs charged. Toss in a heated vest if you can. You don't need to fight winter by heating square footage. You fight it by heating yourself. That's survival. That's FEMA's logic. And it works. 8 fortress blankets built for survival. A blanket sounds boring, right? Everybody's got one tossed over a couch. But here's the cold truth. Most of those soft fleece throws people brag about on Instagram are completely useless when the grid collapses. They'll look pretty. They'll feel cozy for 5 minutes, and then they'll betray you the second your house starts losing heat, like a cave. FEMA doesn't waste time recommending everyday fleece. They call for serious blankets, the kind that trap heat, hold it, and refuse to let it go. Think heavy wool, military-grade synthetics, or rugged thermal layers. The kind of blanket your grandmother probably kept folded at the end of the bed. Ugly? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. Here's the deal. When your body heat bleeds out into a thin layer of fabric, you lose energy faster than you realize. First comes fatigue, then confusion. Then, if you're older or already weak, you're in real danger. A fortress blanket stops that bleed. Its dense weave captures pockets of warm air, keeps them cycling around your body, and gives you insulation that doesn't quit after an hour. And we're not just talking bedtime comfort. A heavy-duty blanket can double as a ground cover when the floor sucks away heat. It can be wedged into drafty windows, thrown over a doorway, or even used as a makeshift barrier if you need to section off one room to conserve heat. That's multi-use survival gear right there. The invisible danger here: people underestimate the cold until it's too late. They assume their cozy blanket will hold the line, but when the house temp drops by 20 degrees in a blackout, cozy becomes worthless. Substance wins. So forget soft and stylish. pick substance. Go for wool, heavyweight synthetics, or anything designed to outlast freezing temperatures. When the grid fails and the temperature plunges, your blanket isn't just comfort, it's armor. Wrap yourself in the kind of gear that can hold back the night, because winter doesn't care if you prefer snuggly. It only respects survival. 7. Thermal window shield. Here's the part almost nobody thinks about. Your biggest enemy in a winter blackout isn't always the cold air itself, it's your windows. Those shiny panes of glass turn into massive holes in your home's armor. They leak out every ounce of heat you fight to hold on to. And in freezing weather, that's not just a draft, that's a death sentence. FEMA has hammered this point quietly for years. Protect your windows, and no, that doesn't mean slapping up some dollar store curtains and calling it good. You need insulated window shields. Heavy covering, multi-layer barriers that block heat from escaping and stop the icy drafts from creeping in. Your grandmother knew this instinctively. She didn't have a smart thermostat, but she knew how to make a household heat. She'd throw quilts over the windows, tack up blankets, even tape newspaper layers between cloth and glass. Crude? Yes. Effective? Absolutely. And science backs her up. The Department of Energy confirms insulated window covers can slash heat loss by up to 40%. That's survival-grade efficiency. Think about it, when your house loses power, your furnace shuts down, and within hours your home starts to feel like an icebox. Most people run around panicking, but the smart move is to attack the weak point, the window. One heavy covering, one DIY panel of cardboard and cloth, and you slow the bleed of warmth. That buys you hours, sometimes days. The invisible danger here is subtle. You don't always feel the cold seep through glass. It's quiet, steady, and before you realize it, your core temperature has already dropped. That's why preppers and survivalists don't skip windows, they fortify them. So stop thinking about heaters first. Think about defense. Build shields for your windows now. Use blankets, foam boards, reflective insulation, whatever you can get your hands on. Because when the blackout strikes and the cold is clawing at your walls, the only thing standing between you and hypothermia could be the layers you stapled to your windows. Protect the glass. Protect your body. That's the formula. 6. Off-grid radiant heat sources. Cold is not just uncomfortable, it's a predator. It creeps in slowly, numbs your fingers, stiffens your joints, and before you know it, your body is giving up without a fight. When the grid goes down and your furnace is just a hunk of metal in the basement, what do you reach for? Not a candle, not a flashlight. You reach for real heat, the kind that doesn't flicker out when the Wi-Fi does. That's where fuel-powered radiant heaters come in. These heaters, whether propane, kerosene, or catalytic, are staples in FEMA emergency shelters for one reason. They don't care about power lines, they run independently, pumping out infrared warmth that heats your body directly, not just the air around you. Picture this: your house is silent, the outside wind is brutal, and you're wrapped in every blanket you own. Still freezing. Then you switch on a radiant heater. Suddenly, the chill doesn't dominate the room anymore. You feel heat in your chest, your hands thaw, your hope flickers back, but let's cut the romance. These heaters come with rules, and breaking them can cost you more than frostbite. You need ventilation, you need clearance, no curtains, no paper, nothing flammable within a few feet. You need a heater with an oxygen depletion sensor and a tip-over shutoff. Use the wrong model or ignore the warnings and you're not just cold, you're in danger of fire or poisoning. That said, when used properly, nothing beats a radiant heater in a blackout winter. Fuel is the lifeline. Propane tanks or kerosene cans can sit ready for months, waiting for that night when electricity fails. Unlike a battery pack that fizzles in hours, a gallon of fuel can buy you night after night of survivable heat. Bottom line, if you're prepping for a grid-down winter, blankets alone won't cut it. Stock a safe, fuel-powered radiant heater. Stock extra fuel. Learn how to use it before disaster hits. Because in the dead of winter, off-grid heat isn't luxury, it's survival. 5. Long-life emergency meal kits. You can survive the dark. You can fight the cold. But try surviving without food for a few days, and you'll discover a whole new level of despair. Hunger doesn't scream, it whispers. Shaky hands, foggy thoughts, muscles refusing to work. That's why FEMA drills one simple fact into every preparedness guide: non-perishable food is not optional, it's essential. But don't get this twisted. We're not talking about chips in a pantry or that half-open box of cereal. We're talking about shelf-stable survival meals, freeze-dried packs, retort pouches, MREs, and high-calorie ration bars that can sit quietly in your closet for years, waiting to be your lifeline. No refrigerator, no stove, sometimes no water required, just tear, eat, and keep going. The power in these kits is not in flavor, it's in reliability. 25-year shelf life is common now. Multi-layer seals lock out oxygen and moisture. Some packs need a splash of water, others can be eaten straight out of the bag. Either way, when trucks can't deliver food, when grocery shelves sit stripped bare, you won't be the one panicking. You'll be eating while everyone else is waiting on help. Invisible danger. People underestimate hunger in emergencies. They think, I'll ration, but rationing makes you weak faster than you think. When your body runs out of calories in freezing weather, it doesn't just feel tired, it gives up warmth to save energy. That's when hypothermia has an open door. The right emergency food kit doesn't just keep you full, it keeps your core burning, your brain sharp, and your willpower alive. So don't stash random cans and call it a plan. Build a survival pantry with deliberate food, protein-heavy pouches, calorie-rich bars, lightweight grains, rotate them yearly. Store some in a go bag and keep others in your basement. Spread the stock so one accident doesn't wipe it out. In a blackout winter, food isn't just about taste, it's about energy. It's about survival. And shelf-stable meal packs are the most boring, most practical, most life-saving investment you can make right now. 4 old-school oil lamps. When the lights go out, most people panic. They grab their phone flashlight, burn through the last 20% battery, and then sit in the dark praying the power company gets it together. But here's what FEMA still acknowledges and what your grandparents knew better than you. A kerosene lamp is a weapon against the dark. Not fancy, not digital, just rugged, steady light when everything else dies. Let's be blunt. LED lanterns are fine until their batteries drain. Flashlights, great for a few hours. But what happens on night 2? Night 3? That's where the kerosene lamp destroys the competition. Pour fuel, strike a match. Adjust the wick, and you've got steady light for 10, 15, even 20 hours on a single fill. It doesn't beep. It doesn't fail when it's cold. It just burns. And here's the hidden bonus. It gives off warmth, not enough to heat a house, but enough to take the edge off in one corner of a room. During past blackouts, whether the Northeast blackout of '65 or ice storms that crippled whole towns, people gathered around kerosene lamps, not just to see, but to survive. You can cook small meals on top. You can reflect the flame off a mirror to magnify the glow. One lamp becomes a lifeline. Of course, the rules matter here too. Never put one near curtains. Always ventilate. Store fuel safely. But if you know how to handle it, a kerosene lamp is as close to foolproof as emergency lighting gets. Unlike fragile tech, it doesn't care if the internet is down or the power lines are frozen. It just works. And the invisible danger, total darkness. It messes with your head. Fear multiplies. Families fracture. Darkness isn't just inconvenient. It's psychological warfare. A steady lamp flame cuts that in half. It reassures, it calms, it keeps morale intact while you wait for daylight or rescue. So stop relying on batteries alone. If you're serious about winter prepping, add a kerosene lamp to your kit. Because while everyone else scrambles in pitch black, you'll be the one sitting in warm light. A step ahead, not a step behind. 3 survival-grade multi-fuel stove. When the lights flicker off and your kitchen goes silent, you'll discover something brutal. All those shiny appliances you brag about on social media are dead weight. Your air fryer, your microwave, even that fancy induction stove. They're all just useless metal boxes, food sitting right there in your pantry, but you can't cook it. You can't heat it. You can't even boil water. And cold calories in a freezing home? That's not survival, that's slow failure. Enter the survival-grade multi-fuel stove. It's not sleek, it's not smart, but it doesn't care about the power grid or your gas line. It runs on what you've got: propane, kerosene, butane, white gas, even rubbing alcohol in some models. Some stoves are so versatile, they'll even run on twigs. That's not a gadget, that's a lifeline. Picture this: your neighbors are eating cold beans out of the can, cursing the dark, and you're in your garage with the door cracked for ventilation, simmering a hot pot of soup. The smell of warmth, the taste of real food, that's not just nutrition, that's morale. That's the psychological edge that keeps you fighting while everyone else is spiraling. Multi-fuel stoves are compact, portable, and made for climbers and backpackers who cook on mountaintops. If it can work at 12,000 feet in a snowstorm, it can work in your blackout kitchen. FEMA recommends having a non-electric cooking source for one reason: hunger kills discipline. Cold food drains hope. Hot food gives it back. The danger is subtle. You won't notice your energy dropping at first. You'll just feel slow, tired, maybe even hopeless. That's your body shutting down without fuel. The multi-fuel stove gives you control back: heat, water, food, all from one flame. So don't wait until you're shivering and staring at raw rice you can't cook. Get a stove that eats whatever fuel you feed it, because when the kitchen dies, fire keeps you alive. 2. Heat-locking thermal bottles. Most people think survival in winter is all about heaters, coats, and firewood. But here's what they forget: your body temperature doesn't just drop from the outside in. It collapses from the inside out. That's where a thermal insulated bottle becomes a secret weapon most people overlook. Forget the influencer hype about trendy water bottles. This is about science. A double-wall vacuum-sealed stainless steel thermos can keep boiling water hot for hours, even overnight. That means one kettle of hot water before the blackout, and you've got not only something to drink, but also a heat source you can literally sleep beside. Old school trick? Tuck it into your bed covers, and you've got hours of steady warmth hugging your core. And the brilliance doesn't stop there. A thermal bottle works both ways. It locks in heat, yes, but it also protects liquids from freezing. That means if you're melting snow for drinking water or storing broth for later, it stays usable instead of turning to ice. Hydration and warmth in one container, that's the kind of quiet efficiency FEMA puts on their lists for a reason. Invisible danger here: dehydration and cold stress. You won't notice it happening. Your hands stiffen, your head gets foggy, you feel weak. That's your body screaming for hydration and heat. One sip of hot liquid from a thermos can turn that around instantly. It kickstarts circulation, steadies your core, and pulls you back from the edge. This isn't about brand names or aesthetics. This is about survival. Invest in a couple of thermal bottles, learn the tricks your grandparents knew, and keep them filled whenever the forecast looks ugly. Because in a freezing blackout, a single bottle of hot water can feel like carrying a furnace in your backpack. When comfort collapses, the thermal bottle doesn't. It's not a trend. It's a survival essential. Core heating body warmers. When the cold gets vicious and the night drags on, here's the hard truth. It's not your fingers or toes that take you down first. It's your core. Drop your body temperature just a couple degrees, and the whole machine starts shutting down. Shivers, confusion, weakness, collapse, and in a blackout, when the blankets feel useless and the thermostat is a dead screen, that's when body warmers prove they're not luxury. They're lifelines. Think of them as armor you wear against the cold. Chemical warmers, rechargeable heat patches, adhesive strips, they're small but they work where it counts. Stick one on your chest, your lower back, or over your kidneys. Keep your vital organs lit, and your body will keep fighting. That's survival science, not marketing. Your grandmother didn't have fancy disposable warmers, but she knew the principle. She'd press her hands to her chest, wrap extra fabric around her belly, anything to protect the furnace inside. Today, we've got modern tools that do the job better. Crack a body warmer pack, slip it under your clothes, and suddenly the night isn't as deadly. And don't underestimate the invisible danger here. Hypothermia doesn't announce itself with sirens. It sneaks up, a shiver here, a stumble there, and by the time you realize what's happening, you're already losing the fight. Body warmers interrupt that slide. They hold the line where it matters most: your core temperature. Emergency shelters during freezes have tracked it. Families with access to body warmers stayed healthier, kept their energy up, and avoided serious cold-related illness compared to those without. Why? Because when the grid fails, warmth at skin level can be the only thing between stability and collapse. So stop thinking of body warmers as nice extras. They're not. They're survival tools as critical as food or water. Stock up, stash them in your kits, and when the blackout comes, use them wisely. Because in a fight against winter, the battle is won at your core. Keep it burning, and you live to see the thaw. Bonus point 1. Emergency hand and foot warmers. If you thought body warmers alone were enough, think again. Extremities, the fingers, toes, and even your nose are the first to betray you in extreme cold. Shivering starts there. Circulation slows. Frostbite creeps in quietly. This is where emergency hand and foot warmers become more than convenience. They become lifesavers. These aren't just chemical packets you buy for camping. The right warmers are small, lightweight, and can sit in your boots or gloves for hours. Some last up to 12 hours. Some can be reactivated. The principle is simple. Generate heat where the cold attacks first. Protect your extremities, and the core you've fought so hard to maintain stays stable longer. Here's the reality most people ignore. Cold extremities don't just hurt, they weaken you physically. Your fingers become clumsy, you can't grip tools, you can't cook, you can't write. Your feet go numb, making walking treacherous, increasing the chance of falls or injuries. One frostbitten toe can turn a survivable night into a dangerous ordeal. But with hand and foot warmers, you get targeted heat without relying on electricity. Pop one in your boot, one in your glove, or even tuck one in a jacket pocket near your waist. Instant thermal reinforcement. FEMA emphasizes redundancy, multiple layers of protection, and these warmers perfectly fit that principle. They're cheap, portable, and when the grid dies, they outperform almost every high-tech device people scramble for. Pro tip: keep extras in your emergency bag, stash a few in your car, and rotate them annually to maintain potency. Combine them with heavy socks, gloves, and layered clothing, and you have a system that prevents cold from ever gaining the upper hand. Invisible danger. You won't notice cold extremities worsening until your hands drop tools or your toes go numb in bed. By then, it's often too late. Warmers stop that slide before it begins. When layered with your core protection strategies, thermal bottles, body warmers, blankets, you've created a chain of defense that's simple, reliable, and deadly effective against winter's bite. Bonus point 2. Compact solar battery charger. Everyone talks about fuel, fire, and blankets, but one thing most preppers underestimate is communication and device power. When winter blackouts strike, your phone becomes more than convenience. It's a lifeline. It's the connection to emergency services, weather updates, family check-ins, and online survival information. But when the grid goes down, your phone dies quickly. That's where a compact solar battery charger becomes critical. These aren't massive panels that take up your room. Small, foldable units fit in backpacks, mount to windows, or even lie on your balcony. Solar cells trickle charge even on cloudy days, and paired with a battery pack, they can store enough juice to power a smartphone, a flashlight, or even a small portable heater for multiple days. In survival, that means communication doesn't fail when the weather gets rough. Here's why this matters. Invisible danger in winter isn't always the cold, it's isolation. Panic sets in faster when you're alone and unconnected. Weather forecasts go unreceived. Roads are blocked. Family or neighbors are unreachable. One charged phone can coordinate evacuation, confirm rescue timelines, or simply calm anxiety. A charged phone isn't a luxury. It's operational security. FEMA lists backup power for communication devices essential, and modern survivalists take it further. Pair a solar charger with multiple batteries, keep USB hubs ready, and rotate devices so one always has energy. During prolonged winter storms, families with solar charging setups report staying informed, safer, and more psychologically resilient than those who relied solely on wall outlets. Pro tip: train your household to manage solar charging efficiently. Limit non-essential device use during blackouts. Charge before nightfall. Rotate batteries. Small efforts prevent large failures. Unlike fuel or fire, solar is continuous and renewable. You don't have to worry about propane running out or matches dampening in snow. And when combined with other FEMA-approved items, thermal bottles, body warmers, blankets, you create a multi-layered survival system that keeps your core, extremities, and connections alive. Bonus point 3, emergency shelter materials. Finally, the third bonus item often overlooked is emergency shelter materials. This isn't just a tent or a tarp, it's anything you can use to fortify your immediate environment when the house fails to hold heat. Think thick tarps, heavy-duty plastic sheeting, rope, duct tape, or collapsible poles. These are the tools that let you create micro-environments, zones that trap heat, block drafts, and even protect from snow or ice infiltration. Imagine your home loses heat completely, The cold penetrates walls, seeps under doors, and chills every corner. You can't warm the whole house, but you can warm a single room. Hang heavy tarps to create a temporary inner wall, drape plastic sheets over windows, or fashion a small tent inside the living area. With blankets and body warmers, you've now built a thermal pocket where you can survive for hours or even days. The genius here is simplicity. A makeshift shelter doesn't need engineering. It needs barriers against cold air, wind, and drafts. It needs to maximize the efficiency of heat from your body, heaters, and thermal bottles. FEMA calls these improvised insulation methods in their cold weather guides for a reason. They work, period. Invisible danger. You won't realize how fast heat escapes from an unprotected room. People panic, bundle in layers, and still freeze because the air keeps circulating out of every crack and window. A temporary shelter focuses the heat. You trap energy where you are. You stay alive longer even when the storm is relentless. Pro tip: include heavy-duty tarps, rope, and duct tape in your winter emergency kit. Keep foldable poles or collapsible frames for instant setup. Train your household to deploy them quickly. Combine them with body warmers, blankets, and battery-powered devices, and you have a microclimate capable of keeping several people safe even in prolonged blackouts.